Yeah, I'm writing a romantic comedy right now, and sometimes I'll find that there are jokes in the script. And the difference between a joke and something that's legitimately funny is, does it sound like something somebody would actually say, or are you just trying to be really damn funny? And if it's the latter, then you probably want to... I mean, you've all watched sitcoms. You've seen, good stuff. You've seen bad stuff. If somebody says a line that could only be followed by this one joke, then the setup line is shit. And the joke is terrible. There's a terrible line in one of the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. It's like, "You're the worst pirate I've ever heard of." "Yes, but you have heard of me." Well, that's a wonderful put down, but there's no possible response to the setup, and it makes it a really bad joke.
Yeah, I think we could probably talk for a long time about sitcom writing, and which is sort of an art in itself. And
you know what? Watch sitcoms. Watch the really good ones. Watch the ones that are written for children. Watch the ones that are amazingly written, and you'll start to recognize very quickly what the difference is between what's really clever and what is just good enough for this audience.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, this is it's interesting. I've sat in panels like this before and talked about the art of constructing a good sitcom plot, and of delivering jokes through the sitcom format, and I am proud, I am pleased when people compare More Than Meets the Eye to a sitcom. In not to say it's funny all the time, but I don't know how to read that audience response. But I think there's a fantastic economy of writing in the best sitcoms. You're talking about 22 minutes, to me, the best sitcoms are those which obviously which are funny, but which have which also have a degree of pathos in there, and which you learn the characters they don't need to be grotesques or caricatures. The best sitcoms have I don't know, if we're talking American sitcoms, I'm thinking of things like MASH or like Cheers or Frasier and things like that, and in the UK. I'm thinking of things like, it's slightly different, it's slightly broader, but Blackadder and stuff like that. Oh, Community in America, that type of stuff. I think there's a great economy of language in terms of moving the story forward while having the requisite amount of jokes in there too. But often the jokes are character-led, aren't they? And you can't imagine them being delivered through another character's by another character, which is a good test actually of whether you've captured, whether you've created a believable three-dimensional character. The jokes should, and it's the same with dialogue in comics. The dialogue shouldn't be interchangeable. You can't just, if we are talking comics, just give the speech balloon to somebody else, unless it's just imparting some exposition or some information to further the plot forward. If it's them speaking in their own voice, you shouldn't be able to mix and match too much.
Have you ever seen where the word balloon is going to the wrong person, and it was just so painfully obvious? That's not an example of a bad word balloon. That's an example of good writing.
Yeah.
And also, what you're saying about writing dialogue in comics is the same thing as writing dialogue anywhere. You should be able to tell who's talking if you cover up the names. The vocabulary that each character will use, the inflections they'll use, the grammatic structure, the way people have a different way of speaking. They have different ways of constructing sentences or of conveying thoughts, and every character should be rather distinct that way.
I think sometimes with I often think of Transformers the movie, the original one in '86, and it was, if you think about it, nearly every character, the new ones that were introduced, sort of got a speech. A way of speaking which is very distinct, and it's almost as if that was the shortcut, that in lieu of developing the characters particularly, and some of them are well developed, but you've got Wheelie who speaks in rhyme, you've got Retgar who speaks in TV, you've got Cup who's sort of the old timer and speaks accordingly. There's more. I've got Grimlock, of course, he'd been around already, but it's it can't be used as a shortcut really, or it can't, as I say, it can't be used in lieu of sort of creating something a bit more substantial. They've got a speech impediment, that's how you know them. It doesn't really fly.